going live as well. Just quickly.
And I'll just sit here.
Okay, so Assalamu alaikum guys, welcome everyone. Hopefully the camera should be working now. Right, so ahlan wa sahlan guys. So mashallah, today we have a amazing guest with us. Brother Yahya is here as we promised, and hopefully you guys are gonna benefit from his in the comments. If you guys can hear us, just leave it in the comments. Hopefully you guys, your voices should be able to, I've set it on quite high, so your voices should be able to be heard, hopefully, inshallah.
We're live on Facebook as well now. Alhamdulillah. Done.
Alright, so
Mufti Sab.
yeah,
So I'm going to ask you a question because today's topic is conspiracies, isn't it?
go for it, man.
Okay, what's the first time you came across a conspiracy that made you like go, whoa?
You take a guess, take 3 guesses, go on. In the 90s, late 90s, yeah.
Was it a cassette player that somebody gave you called From the Shadows?
With an old Englishman's voice, you know, because those are always true, innit? Old Englishmen never lie.
Did you go around school the next day being woke?
I'll tell you what happened. I haven't seen the link. I haven't seen the link, have I? For the live stream.
It's live.
One second, I'll just send you the link. Shall I send in the group?
Yeah.
Altaf, shall I just share from the Muslims of Birmingham page, yeah?
Yeah, shoot him there.
Yeah, go for it. So basically, I'll tell you about me, yeah? What happened was one day I was in my bedroom and my dad, out of all people, calls me and says, you have to listen to this.
What the heck?
Exactly. The last
Your
person.
dad made you listen to From the Shadows.
He called me. He goes, you come to the front room. And I was thinking, oh no, what have I done? I was trying to think of all of the bad things I've done in the past 2 or 3 years that I've been caught for. And then, so basically what happened was, he goes to me, listen to this, son. And when my dad says to me, listen to this, son, yeah, that means I seriously have to listen to this, because otherwise, you know, I'm in trouble. So he put it on to me, and I heard this. Basically, my dad likes telling me things about science and all that, yeah, from a young age. Yeah, whether it's true, whether it's false, that doesn't really matter. So he tells me. So I'm sitting down and listen to this, and I think, yeah, it sounds quite good, you know. Saddam Hussein in the Gulf War. And then, you know, you hear that famous Louis Farrakhan, you know, his saying, you know, what was it? That we didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us. I thought, whoa, that's cool. Like, who's this guy? So then when I heard that,
There's the Quran translations as well.
so basically when I heard that, guess what I said to myself? Where's the closest place to do wudu? I'm going to the mosque. Yeah, because they put you in the high point to go to the mosque. Went to the mosque, no one's there. So came back.
That's when you knew it was a conspiracy theory.
Yeah, but that kind of made the cogs start turning in my head. Alhamdulillah.
Now,
Here's me thinking we're going to talk about food today.
no, conspiracy first. We go on to food in a minute, man. We'll introduce Yahya when it warms up a bit.
You know, I don't know you guys. What do you guys think? I think conspiracies, if you were to have like a chart of conspiracies, people who are on the border of practicing Islam are more, you know, peaking the conspiracy sort of like chart than people who are more sort of like integrated into Islam. I don't know.
I would believe that before, but after this 5G one, this Ramadan, man, I had to start following some of these scholars as well, man. When this one Molana just went over the top with him, and he was like became an epidemiologist, he became a 5G expert, you know, and then he was saying that you shouldn't post about fiqh. And I'm like thinking, I shouldn't post about fiqh. You can be an epidemiologist. You can have a master's in epidemiology and look at bloody be an expert on 5G.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I do agree with you before, Muftisab, but I don't know about anymore.
Yeah.
Are there Molanas that give talks against like social media, on social media? That's like the best post ever. Like, brother, stay away from Facebook. He updates it on Facebook. It's like, yeah, bro, Jazakallah. Thanks.
Yeah.
I
I don't know. You know, I think what it is, I think it's it's culture as well. A lot of culture. Sometimes some people just like going with the flow. So if the flow is talking about 5G, all of a sudden everyone feels they have to say something about it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, yourself?
Oh, I've heard too many conspiracy theories, man.
I know the one that affects you the most.
I think people just kind of they make conspiracies up, especially like in Islam and Deen, just to make people kind of change path. But then if the whole route of it's incorrect, and you're getting somebody to change path on a route that's incorrect, no, what's the whole meaning in that?
That's true. I know what conspiracy you're hating.
That's
on
a good point. That is. That's a good point. I mean, we don't think of conspiracy theories as being a conspiracy, as in we people who are into conspiracy theories see them as facts.
Absolutely.
What's up? I got two questions, right? One I'm going to ask you at the end.
Well, you asked me one already, way.
Ask
Naveed. Naveed was just being offered something there, off the scene.
What did you offer?
Where's ours?
Basically, it's like a pancake with strawberries and chocolate and everything on there.
It's crepe. Whoa.
It's a crepe, yeah, more or less.
Have you seen in Palestine? Have you been in Palestine?
I've not been, bro.
Oh yeah. So basically, in Ramadan, when you go Palestine Ramadan, one thing you see them making is Nutella. These Nutella crepes. It's really famous there. So it's just like a basic crepe, and they just put Nutella on top, and I think they just put something else on top, roll it up, and then people on the side are eating it.
I've seen that.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, yeah. I know one conspiracy that you're actively keen on at the moment.
Go on.
Vegetarianism.
Oh, come on.
That Netflix documentary, the one that everybody watches and becomes a vegan the next day. It lasts for about a week.
Is it? The thing with it is that how a lot, if we look at the seerah, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was semi-vegetarian, yeah? And we should eat vegetarian food. Whether we should eat all the time, Allahu Alam. I mean, we should eat, everything in moderation in it. So I know my feed looks like all I do is eat meat. But that's Instagram for you, and Instagram's fake. Yeah? I don't eat these things every single day. It's just that's what people want to see, and that's what you put on, sadly. Yeah? In our house, we eat vegetarian. Even the missus was saying, man, we eat too much vegetarian in Ramadan. So we need to eat meat. I was like, oh, easy. So, so we
From
have...
your post, you wouldn't look like that. From your post, it looks like there's like that.
That's what it is. Social media is not a reflection of your daily life, okay? I'm not going to post every single little thing I eat. Yeah? It's just too much stress. I go to people's houses and they go, oh, I can't invite you for a dawah. You go to your own aunt's house and she's saying to you, I don't want to cook for you. I said, okay, don't worry about it. I go, why? Because, but you'll critique this food and critique that food. I go, but any food that's made with piyar and mahabbat and with, with the right intentions, then why should we ever, that food's always going to be, very tasty and very, very, it's going to be really enjoyable. So, but being a man and cooking is really, really difficult. I remember I used to go to bloggers events, and before I used to put my voice on, and I've never put my face on, and missus don't allow it, by the way, yeah? So...
I like how you kind of casually put that in and tried to carry on like we weren't going to pick up on it, but go on.
Yeah, have you seen that TikTok video? I think that's Yahya, where his wife sitting there, she goes, I must not have any friends.
I'm having a good time.
You know what? I got too many friends. But anyway, before I was putting up my picture and I was just writing stuff, how to cook it, and I used to get messages back, thank you, hun, XXX. So I was thinking, okay, what does that mean? Right? Then I thought, XXX, hun, it must be that, they must think I'm a woman, and they're blowing kisses at me, I don't know what it is, yeah? So then I started putting my voice on. Then they started going, oh, we don't know your brother. Because that's how backwards we are as a community in terms of male cooking in an Asian household. It's like unheard of, absolutely unheard of. And I used to go to bloggers events and me dress like this, because this is how I dress. Okay, this is how I've dressed since I was a teenager. And
what are you wearing, by the way, bro? We can't see from, all we see is this.
It's a phobe, yeah.
Oh, it's a jubba. Okay,
It's a phobe, yeah.
just making sure.
Making sure you don't have night trousers on.
Yeah, no. Sometimes I have a Liverpool top because Altaf has an Arsenal top, and Arsenal, I can hear Arsenal from here, you know. Oh God.
Allah Akbar. Subhanallah.
Listen, Altaf, you know that I can hear Arsenal from here, from my house. But only when they're winning, and that's not been very regular recently. Right.
All right.
You look like a yellow torpedo.
Yeah. So sometimes when I used to go to bloggers events,
Yeah.
walk in, and everything will go quiet, and I'll think, what's happening? Is it because of me? Is it because I'm dressed? Then some guy even comes to me and goes, you know what? We're not HMC. We don't need to. What do you call it? You know, our inspection's been done already. I'm like, yeah, come on. Do I look like HMC inspector? I'm a science teacher, yeah. Right? And I'll come and I'll sit down, and then somebody else will think, yeah, we get him all V heads probably come to give us nasiha or something, you know, and just waiting for that. Alhamdulillah, nahmaduhu wa nasta'inu. So I'm thinking, what's happening? I'm just a normal guy. Okay, TK, I've got a beard, I've got a topi, and I wear a thobe. But you know, us as Muslims, have we been socially engineered to think that that guy is going to shout at us, this guy's going to scream at us, this guy's going to say we're haram, you know, we're doing this, we're doing that, and it was a little bit difficult. And then when nobody wants to talk to you, so like you're sitting there and you're like, then you start talking, and they think, and then they ask you, who are you? I go, all right, yeah, I run the blog and the Instagram page called Hello Foodie. They go, what? No way! We didn't expect you to look like you. So you know, and you think to yourself, you know, I'm not stereotypical, yeah. But alhamdulillah, it's good. And
I'm sure that's a dance move.
I thought that's what we were doing. That's what we're doing. I thought we were about to start something viral.
TikTok. So the thing is that, you know, a man cooking and giving recipes out, you know, once we're in our masjid, because we're slightly out the area, we're in a like middle class Gore area, non-Muslim area, and we have Eid parties. So then the masjid, little tiny masjid, has an Eid party. So we call all the local guys to we give them vegan biryani, because we have to give them vegan stuff because nobody wants to
vegan biryani.
Vegan biryani, oh my God, so good. It's honestly, our uncles are thinking, ये क्या है? क्या लेकर आए मुझे से? Yeah, ये क्या नकली है?
धोखा है, दज्जाल.
That's the biggest conspiracy. Vegan, yeah. That's it. Right? So we give him vegan.
क़यामत की निशानी है. ये क़यामत की निशानी है.
क़यामत की निशानी है.
And your dal chawal has meat in it. Whoa.
You know, I grew up with vegetarian samosas with chicken inside. Allahu Alam. I don't know how that happened, but that's what happened. So anyway,
let's ask the chickens.
We give them vegan biryani and stuff like that. And then some of the Muslim sisters, they realize that, you know what, you're Halid Fidi. Are you the one telling me how to cook my biryani? And I figured, what? I actually got cornered once. Because you're the one that's telling me I've been cooking wrong all that time. I go, no, I'm not saying that. This is the way I do it. So it is quite difficult being a male, especially a Muslim male that looks like me, okay, to break into the blogging and that sort of scene. But alhamdulillah, you know, we try to do stuff that's different. Try to do stuff that's not out there that everybody does. Dalgona coffee, whatever, you know. Banana bread and.
I used to think it's called Dalunga coffee. Dalunga.
What?
Dalunga coffee.
You not seen the coffee? Yeah, guy, are you in Birmingham or what, man?
What coffee?
No, I've seen it. I thought it was Dalunga. Dalunga coffee. I thought it was some sort of India subcontinent.
While we're on the subject of that coffee, guys, I made the coffee, yeah, and I found that, you know, if you just mix the top bit with the milk, it tastes like much better. Like, why would you let it float at the top?
You know, most of Instagram, most of it is just aesthetics.
Yeah.
It could taste like nothing.
Yeah.
Okay. But if it looks good, that's when you get the likes. That's when you get the thing. But you know, I don't know if you've ever seen my Instagram. And my Instagram, we have stories as well. So I go through every single process. So because I'm a teacher and I'm a science teacher, and when you teach science, you got to go through do this first, then do this, like a science experiment. Do this first, and that that process helps a lot of people out. And
While you're on that subject, bro, sorry to interrupt. You know, I can't remember. There's that other chef that's like got like a bit of a sciencey kind of background. I don't remember his name, Heston or something like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
Heston, yeah.
Do you find yourself the way you cook?
Okay.
Is it like inspired by science, or do you things like accurately measure it and check this level? And I know you don't pull out the pH paper and stuff like that, but is
Litmus
there an
test.
element of that?
No, there is a massive element of science in cooking, to break down misconceptions and stuff like that. You use science. So, for example, one of the massive misconceptions amongst our community is that you put masala on the food. You know, when you do a barbecue, put the masala on 2 days in advance, 3 days in advance, and then put it on the grill. But masala can't penetrate into the meat. It just doesn't. It's against our way of thinking. You think masala dough, leave it 2 days, it'll go inside. But it doesn't. That's why when you open up chicken, you won't see a chili flake in there or some haldi in there or whatever, yeah? It will just be plain chicken. Yeah, it makes sense, innit? Right? Because the only thing that can go inside is salt. So if you salt your meat and then put your masala in, what can happen is that by putting all the masalas, it dries out the chicken, because if you look at it there, you'll see a pool of water. Where did that pool of water come from? It's come from inside the chicken. So your chicken has become drier than natural thing.
So how long do you leave it on for?
So the masala, just salt overnight, and then put your masala just before you cook. That's all it is, because the masala and all that's on the outside surface flavoring. Inside, nothing apart from salt can actually go in. That's why I've never, they put all those, in when they're doing a chicken tikka, they like cut the chicken breast and cut the leg to try to get the masala inside.
Yeah.
That's the only way you'll actually.
Have you injected chicken?
I haven't.
Yeah, with beef stock. So you get like a. It's not injecting it. That looks like beef stock.
Complete beef stock, mate.
Typical haludi foodie eating beef stock, man.
No, the thing with it is that there's a lot of misconceptions and a lot of, like, for example,
Blood in meat.
Washing meat, washing keema. You know when you're making shish kebabs, yeah? No restaurant in the world washes the keema, because it just won't stick, because you're washing out the fat, and the fat is what keeps it, keeps the kebabs on the sheet. And our lot, Gujaratis, man, they wash it like it's like they're washing a mayat, yeah. High times, wash.
I don't know what kind of meat you've seen being washed.
Right. It's like Kumbra karo yaar.
In the mayat saying, "Oh, Dada wasta hi bas karo hai."
No,
Okay, someone's saying
wash it, and then like nothing.
there's someone in the comments saying, I can swear it tastes better if it's marinated for longer.
The salt goes in, okay, but the marinade doesn't really go in. Lemon, vinegar, this sort of stuff will soften the meat because they're acidic. But no masala actually physically can go in. It's impossible for it to go in. It's like trying to get an elephant through your door. Yeah? You can't get an elephant through your door because your door's too small. Yeah?
You can't at Altaf's house. Big house, mashallah.
Excuse me.
Perry bar.
What were you saying about Altaf?
Right? So because salt is only sodium chloride, a very small molecule, that can
Go into the chicken.
that can go into chicken, because what happens is that
I think there's a show that where one of the guys, he did an MRI scan on chicken. I think it was Heston who did an MRI scan on chicken just to see how much.
It only goes in the first outside. It only goes in a very, very, very faint on the outside, and most of it is because of the yogurt they put in, yogurt or vinegar or lemon juice. That's acidic, and that kind of tenderizes the meat. Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't anything other than salt.
So where did this conspiracy theory come from then?
It's just lazy people, innit? What it is that for too many years we've, as a community, hidden behind masala. Yeah, you eat something. I went to steakhouse, ate a steak. The guy goes, I can taste the meat. I mean, yeah, this is like, what the hell? What's that supposed to mean? You're eating meat, yeah? Yeah. We spend more time thinking about the masala, which is just the flavorings, than the actual meat that we eat. Okay. When
I think that's where that thing comes from. Where we mentioned about the Prophet ﷺ was, you used to not eat as much meat. Well, when you look at our diets, obviously you can't. I think Mufti Sahib, you mentioned in the last one that you can't really compare like for like, because the meat in our day and age is completely different from the meat that they would have had in their time in terms of the way the animals cared for and looked after. So if you have like less meat but you have more quality, that's another way around it. Especially because like when you see chickens and stuff with broken legs and like
chicken. I remember when I was growing up, when I was like 18, 19 years old, we could buy a baby chicken for £1. £1. I don't know if you remember those days. Maybe I'm older than you lot. Okay.
Was that the 1940s?
No, that was shillings, yeah? You know what? I don't have white hair yet, yeah?
I think that's all been singed out by the barbecues,
Right. So with the what was I talking about? A chicken that cost £1. Okay. Remember, that's been born, that's been fed, that's been fed for 6 weeks. That they say that the battery farm chicken, normal growth, 6 months. They do that in 6 weeks because they keep them in massive warehouses and where it's fed and the temperature doesn't go around. So all that energy that it has, it goes into actually making muscle mass. Okay, and then in 6 weeks it gets slaughtered at a slaughterhouse. Then it gets transported to the butchers. Butchers cut it up, and still that's £1. Yeah, think about it. Yeah. So our meat that we use is not a thing. And another thing, I get a lot of issues with when people cook barbecue and then they say, the bone is all pink. It's uncooked. Not necessarily, because our chicken is that battery farm. The bones don't have time to develop. So the bones leak fluid, a pinkish type fluid. So what happens is people think, I can sous vide some chicken, for 3 hours. So sous vide is cooking it in a water bath. So it's impossible it's undercooked. But it'll still be pink inside because the bones inside don't have time to develop. Because the bones don't have time to develop, it leaks out that liquid and it goes, it's dirty, it's the blood. That's another thing, blood. Our lot just think everything's blood. Anything that's got blood in its haram, we can't eat it. But it's not blood anyway, because blood means drained out the animal when it was slaughtered.
Alhamdulillah.
Okay, so brother Yahya, mashallah, if you can tell us, first of all, how did you start into this sort of like field of cooking? Was it your own passion, or was it something that just accidentally you went into?
As a child, we had 4 brothers, yeah, and I'm the middle brother. Now, as you know, the eldest brother, mashallah, if you got younger brothers younger than him, they do their khidmat.
So basically, when you were playing cricket, you were the fielder.
That's right. Yeah, I got. You scan the scar is because my brother hit me with the thing. He's probably listening now. I shouldn't say anything. Yeah? Right. So I'm gonna get phone calls already. Yeah. Right. So what happened was that we had 4 brothers, no sister. My mum got to a stage where we were very demanding. We used to mess around a lot. My dad used to go work in the morning, come back late in the evening. Yeah. Never really used to see my dad. So my mum used to look after us, and we used to have them nuts. Yeah. And then she gets to a point, listen, I can't deal with you. I'll cook you food, and I'll wash your clothes. You, in your room, you iron, you clean up your room, you make your beds. Yeah. If you want anything to eat in between times, you need to cook yourself. So by that, we became a little bit more independent. Okay. And then I've always had a little bit of interest in food. And then when I was at home, started experimenting, about food. Give the wife a day off. It started like that. Then what happened was that I started making things.
Now does she give you a day off?
She doesn't like when people say that she's lucky. Yeah. Why is she deemed lucky when it should be the norm across everybody's household?
Subhanallah, Allah Akbar.
How many times are you cooking?
I was listening to Mufti Abdul Rahman.
You're gonna get some more X's now.
Right. I was listening to Mufti Abdul Rahman, yeah? Just last week, he was talking about, because I posted something, and all of a sudden he just randomly said about, somebody asked about housework. And he said that there is no sabit in hadith that Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam actually physically cooked. But it is sabit in hadith that he helped out at home. Okay? So from there, you could take, you should help at home. So he gave an example. I was making samosas. Yeah, I didn't make them. I didn't make them from Illuminati style. Yeah, put up the thing. Yeah, I didn't put up. Yeah, that's it. I didn't make it Illuminati style, but because I did a deep, reasonable job. But the fact is that it's not something that, in my house, dad cooks, mum cooks. There's nothing. Oh, Dad's cooking today. Nothing like that. It's just the way it is, and I feel that the male should take a thing because, especially now, because you can't go out to a restaurant. We didn't used to go out anyway in our house because we go out and the kids say this food's not good. You cook better at home, and it's expensive. Family of 5. I'm Gujarati here. Family of 5. It's £100 plus per meal. Yeah, and living in this day and age, it's not cheap. Okay, especially living in London where the food prices are even more expensive because of the cost of living is more expensive.
You come to Birmingham, I can take you to a chippy where it's a 5. All the family will eat. I don't know whether it's chicken though.
And some leftover.
Why you eat?
Is it battery farmed? Yeah.
It's not. It's a battery farmed rat. I'm not sure if it's a battery farmed chicken.
But honestly, sometimes I get hate on my thing, on my Instagram. The women, they go mad. They go, yeah, it's so good that a man like you is talking out because we can't say it, but you as a man can go out and say this sort of stuff. But then on the flip side, I get the men sending me messages saying that
stop all this bakwas.
I go out, I work, I do this, blah 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 blah, and then I come home and my wife says I want to cook. And I said it's not as straightforward as that because this day and age, a lot of women go out to work. Sorry. Okay, and because they work themselves, then shared responsibility is a better way forward. Yeah,
you're corrupting them, bro.
Naveed's like pressing the mute button. Sound not working.
When I posted that, I had around 75% women and 25% because Instagram mostly women, especially cooking. Which man's going to be following somebody because of cooking? Because it's right? What Aldaf does, yeah? Right? But as soon as I started posting that, my male numbers decreased straight away. Went down to 70, went to 68, 60, right? And the female obviously went up because it was just one of those, this guy's talking like this. But it's one of those taboo subjects, isn't it? You grow up in a locality where iftar time is not so normal, yeah? And the men are like sitting around saying, yeah, yeah. Come on, I need my chai guy.
We can't use Tarawih as an excuse anymore. Run off. You have to like.
Because before I used to go pray Maghrib in the masjid, okay, and then run back, do iftar, and then run back to Tarawih, okay, and it was like all in the space because summertime you're looking at all in the space in less than an hour by the time you come back. You come back, have a cup of tea, go to the toilet, do what's what, and yeah, okay. And now it's lovely, man, at the moment. I pray my Maghrib after eating. You can't go to the masjid. So
the first guy whose food I tasted and it tasted excellent. Yeah.
Was Altaf's?
No, not Altaf. Sorry, Altaf. Before you even. There was a guy here. We went Jamaat once, and the guy was from Mauritius. And in Mauritius, it's a norm for men to cook.
Absolutely, Mauritius food is actually very good because it's got French influence in there.
And the guy basically he prepared for lunch. It was like about 5 dishes, 5
Really?
in Jamaat. Like normally in Jamaat, everyone eats one dish. Yeah, and that's it.
He made all the dishes with rice and dal.
What
Rice.
happened to Israf and extravagance and
And he was like speaking half French, like half. You will eat this. This is the rice and the bread and the.
don't tell Ibrahim Bhatte, yeah, he won't be happy.
EB, I'm gonna tell EB. You mentioned him on Muslims.
Yeah, that's the first time. Yeah. Then, Toba. The next time we went to Jamaat, this Haji Sahib, yeah, he made dal for 3 days.
That's it, innit?
He made a 3-day dal.
Ishti bhi aa sakte hain na.
Islam of the Sub.
It was like we taste both of the worlds.
Have you had this one combination that I've only ever eaten in Jamaat? Toast,
Honey.
the boiled egg, and honey.
No, and
I went Jamaat my first 3 days, yeah. I must have been 15-year-old kid, yeah. And they took me in Jamaat and I went and they gave me cream butter jam. And I ate that and I thought, wow, I haven't ever thought of that. I get home, it's the half term. Morning, Mum goes, what do you want for breakfast? Cereal, Weetabix, crunchy nut. I go, no, give me some cream butter jam. Put it down, eat it. I go, yeah, what's this nonsense? It's disgusting. Ugh. वो बरकत होता है ना.
Allah.
Exactly, innit?
Allah.
लज्जत
You,
innit?
Never have it.
in our madrasa, in Pakistan, when you study in Pakistan, like the normal breakfast is paratha with egg. Yeah. So there was a guy here. He was from Turkey. He was from Iran. So he used to come. To our flat. So his flat was like below on the 4th floor, and our flat was on the 5th floor, top floor. So he used to come to our flat sometimes upstairs, knock on the door, come inside, breakfast. He used to bring breakfast. So he used to bring this like, I mean, I never seen people eat it like this. It was a kind of like it's kind of thick. It's like a cheese kind of thing. The kind of soft sort of like cheeses that you get. Yeah, that Philadelphia kind of, but a bit harder than that.
Cheese.
It was like a big block, right? He brought, and you just cut a piece off, and then there was olives with it, and then olive oil with it, and then there was some like kind of like bread kind of thing with it as well. Yeah, and that's what I used to have. And tea, it was just like this kind of like very bitter, that kind of Turkish kind of tea, not Turkish coffee. The kind of the amber color one. Yeah. So it was that, and then he had these cubes of sugar.
Yeah.
And he used to have it on the side. And I said to him, why don't you just put the sugar in? So what he said is put the sugar in his mouth, bite a bit off, and then he would drink a bit of the tea. So I said, what's this? So he goes, in Iran, basically, what happened a few decades ago, there was a sugar shortage. So it was illegal, it was haram, basically. The Ayatollah had passed a fatwa. It's haram to put sugar in tea. But you can eat the sugar and have the tea. So it became a culture for the people to drink the tea with the sugar in your mouth. And I got to him, my Ayatollah's not here. And in Pakistan, there is a shortage of sugar. So please put the sugar in the tea. Let's drink it like that. But it was a crazy... you see different people having different breakfasts. It just seems so weird when you're used to like cornflakes, Weetabix, porridge, the normal kind of standard breakfast. And these guys coming out with their own kind of proper healthy. After you eat it, you feel like, jogging or something. Or like, running up and down the room for no reason. One of those kind of healthy breakfasts.
Where breakfast looks nice? I don't know if you ever watch, I think it's called The Food Ranger or Mark Wayne's, one of these guys here. When they hit different parts, I think it was Old City, Hyderabad in India. It just looked like a heart attack waiting to happen, but the food looks next level, man.
But that's what it is.
Good.
A lot of these YouTube bloggers, they go to Muslim places. So they love Turkey. Recently, they've been doing Pakistan. They've done Iran recently as well. Because the food culture there along that Silk Road, okay, India, Pakistan, it goes into Afghanistan, then it goes into China. Yeah, they went to the Muslim Chinese fires, the Yin Yang Forest, whatever it's called, and the food there is amazing, absolutely amazing. And I think, as our culture is very, very dominant. Spices, this, and this, and I think we can learn a lot from other cultures. The problem is when your cuisine is so dominant, it becomes difficult to accept other cuisines in any shape or form. So even like eating a steak, our lot will eat steak and they'll completely blitz it. It'll be completely. A lot of people say, "Oh, it's still bleeding." Yeah, but the thing, when you cook the steak, it should be cooked to that pink consistency. Why? Because you still got moisture in there. Once you burn off that moisture by overcooking it, then it becomes that leather. We've all been to steakhouse.
That's one of those steaks. You're still eating in Tarawih.
Like beef jerky. I like a bit of beef jerky.
There's some brothers in Birmingham, okay, that do halal HMC approved beef jerky. It's called tribal or something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, send me a link.
They're gonna send me a.
I think Thingmob's involved in one of the guys Muftis of the
Yeah.
You're about to say something, bro. You get free food.
Yeah.
Allah.
Bro.
Have you ever thought, have you ever thought of this? Doing like a world tour and trying out food things and doing like one of these kind of Mark Wayne kind of vlog thing.
You think of that sort of stuff all the time, man. But the thing is that whether those guys are professional, that's what their job is. Okay? They just go out, They get sponsored by the country. Pakistan sponsored them. The tourism board sponsored them. Yeah. Why a lot of people going to Pakistan at the moment? Because for like 15 years, all this, terrorism and, it's not safe. It's killed the tourism. How many tourists you see that from Pakistan? No, nothing. You see much more in India, yeah, but you'll never see them in Pakistan. But they'll just open in it again, and they see.
If a bearded guy did do that, Musab, it'd be really interesting because
I think it'd be excellent.
See whether they experience any.
Abu Isa do it.
Yeah.
No, man,
Sorry?
Abu Isa, come on, man. He doesn't know how to taste food.
Abu Isa went to Afghanistan, Peshawar, yeah, and he tried to do Mark Twain's basically.
He tweeted it to Mark Twain. Mark Twain retweeted it.
I think it would be excellent if someone like Yahya or someone, or maybe even me, maybe we could team up. Do like
I really want to go to China.
Nah, you're right. You guys carry on, Bismillah. Yeah, fantastic.
Don't say Wuhan. You don't want to go to Wuhan.
He wants to go Wu-Tang.
Wu-Tang Clan, get it?
Wu-Tang Clan.
No, but no, I really want to go China. Not because of what's happened. When it clears up, the cuisine there is very different to what we think that is traditional Chinese food. Because you know what it is? Takeaways kill our expectations of what actual
lassi,
food is. Yeah?
like lassi and Rover.
Yeah.
Lassi. Are you talking about the guy that's serving the food or the food itself? Which one's Lassi?
Lassi, man, Lassi.
You might have to change madhab to visit China, brother.
I'll tell you something. Madrasa, we had Chinese students here. Their food was more similar. They're in the West China, aren't they?
Yeah,
so their food is very similar to, Tajikistan. Tajikistan and East. Well, they used to call it the East Turkey.
Yeah.
So their food is very similar to Turkish food.
That's right, yeah.
It was like watery. The salons were very watery, like soupy. And the meat was like grilled meat with fat. They used to like eating fat.
Yeah.
And I mean, I haven't seen that. Here, one I think I haven't seen is, when you have those skewers and you have like tikkas on there.
Yeah,
Over there, they have like fat after every like few cubes of meat. They have pieces of fat.
Because what it is in the UK, and especially amongst us, our population, we don't see fat as flavor. Yeah, fat is actual flavor. Because you think about it, random, what do you call it, English cuisine, etc. They use fats as flavor. We use all these masalas, isn't it? And because we use the masalas,
when you say English cuisine, in my head, fish and chips comes to mind.
English cuisine,
Yorkshire pud.
Yorkshire pud. The thing with it is that fat flavor. So whenever you have a steak or chops, especially if you're doing a barbecue, do not take the fat off. And I've got friends that own that farm, the Hill Farm Finest. They have the best beef in the country. The lamb is amazing. And then they actually run, the farm is a third or fourth generation farmer. And what they do, their animals go to big supermarkets. So then one of the Muslim brothers in the community said that why doesn't Muslims have access to this? Because Muslims, especially their beef and their chicken, is very, very low quality. Because our lot will just put masala on it, put it in the pressure cooker, blitz it for 2 hours, salanagia, yeah? Miraculously. So, but if you are using, because the masala, the spice kind of hides the quality of the meat, if that makes sense. So we've been eating really poor quality meat, and these tell me that when they go to meat markets, we finished all our trade, we go in home, and then the guys with the big beards turn up.
Sounds about right, isn't it?
Yep, HMC written here, HMC, right? And then they turn up and they say, we'll take everything. Because our lot will take any quality of meat. Because it goshi hai na. Yeah? So then, because you're going to put masala on it, they're gonna make it into salad, it doesn't really make a difference. But when you have steaks like that, then they become chewy, gristly, it tastes like leather, because the quality of the meat's really poor. It's like whenever you go to shop and you have the Savers stuff. You know the Savers stuff? Yeah? We don't buy that. We buy either the mid or the high range, yeah? But, we know people that buy this because of the economic circumstances. But that's the meat we're eating, because if that meat didn't get sold to the Muslims, it'll probably end up in dog food and cat food. Yeah? That's the reality of it.
On that note, you know, I watch a lot of like food, these kind of food documentaries and programs on YouTube and all that. And you tend to find them talking about this certain type of meat is good for this, and it should be cooked like this, and it's like in our culture we don't even have the idea of this part of the meat is good for biryani or this part is good. It's just any type.
In beef, you go to your local desi butcher and you ask him for steak. Anything that's boneless is steak to them. Anything boneless, steak. Stop steak. Yeah, because it's boneless. And think about a cow. Cow's like 600-700 kilos, and it's going to have a lot of boneless meat. Yeah, and anything. So then you need to know your cuts. You need to know the quality. And what I do is that I don't eat beef every day, or maybe once a week, if that. The thing with it is that eat little, but eat quality. Okay, and if you went out to a steakhouse and got that same steak at a top-end steakhouse, that is going to cost you 70, 80 pounds. Now, you can buy that same steak from Hill Farm, okay, and that steak will cost you what, 7, 8, 10 pounds max? Yeah? And you just cook it at home, and cooking steaks is probably the easiest thing ever. You can't go wrong. Well, unless you overcook it. But you can't really go wrong. So
okay, for my next question would be then, that historically, like, do you think Muslims had this idea of when they were cooking food that they knew different types of meat should be used in different types of ways in different...
Absolutely, because if you think about like nihari, yeah? What do they make nihari out of? They make it out of the bony shank meat normally. So they knew what they were doing, okay? These Mogul chefs that used to cook for the Moguls, they knew what they were doing. They knew when they were making tandoori chicken, you add salt and you add lemon juice because it tenderizes it. They add garlic and ginger because it takes that smell out of the meat, yeah? The perceived smell out of the meat, because they didn't have refrigeration at that time. So they knew what they were doing. They were masters at their craft. I think that when we were back home in Pakistan, we didn't used to eat as much meat as we eat now. And for us, it's just like, it's a status thing. That, look at this, I'm eating meat every day. I've got a status, bangir, whatever. So...
So do you think that maybe historically it's like what's happened is there seems to be this vacuum between the classical way of making food and all of a sudden Muslims have forgotten how to make food and they're reinventing the wheel again?
I think because of the, because of the culture, and our culture is very strong, emphasis on spices and stuff like that, certain things have gone out of fashion, if you want to call it that, and certain trends, etc., have gone out of fashion. And that's not because of us. It's also because of the society. Because for years, the Americans, they demonized fat. Yeah, when it's not fat's the issue, it's the sugars that's the issue. Yeah, and then you got all these carb-free diets and paleo and keto, whatever they called. Yeah, because they realized that it's got to do with sugar, it's not the fat. Demonize fat.
Fat is flavor. Fat is flavor.
And fat is flavor.
Next time my wife calls me fat, I'm gonna say I'm just flavor.
With the I.
Flavor of the month.
Now, don't say your flavor from Peter Andre.
Oh God.
Altaf, I don't even know what that is, but anyway, khair, inshallah.
Bro, you don't know Altaf. You need to watch.
That's now 15 now.
You know, it's interesting how these lobby groups are so powerful in like shaping the way people change their diets.
Absolutely, that's what happened in America. They found out about corn syrup, and then they demonized fat.
So what is corn syrup exactly?
So basically, in the 1950s or 60s, in America, you got a lot of maize, a lot of corn. From that corn, it's really ironic that they have so much corn that the whole world starves, and they have like warehouses full of it. Okay, and somebody realized you've got so much corn. What can we do with it? So some scientists made corn syrup, which is basically sugar syrup, from corn. So they made corn into corn syrup. In America, it's in everything, from bread to rolls to cereals to sweets. Everything has cornstarch in it. You know, it uses it for everything. So much so that if you go and buy a bread, because I went there looking at wholemeal bread, even wholemeal is okay. You look at it, come back and you got corn syrup in it. Why is this like this? You go and buy the non-corn syrup, and it's like double the price. Yeah, and that's a local amenity. Bread is something. It's a staple. Beer, bread, milk, eggs, whatever, flour. So, in the American diet, now there's some conspiracy theories.
Where's my foil cap?
Bring it out.
There's a metal foil cap.
Yeah, there is a conspiracy theory that in America, if you've ever been in America, the people are big. Wallah, they're big.
As in like status big or
As in,
physically?
They're flavorful, brother. They're full of flavor over there.
Like that one, right? So, no, they're big, okay? And the reason why they're big is that when I went first time, we went to a Krispy Kreme. And Krispy Kreme just opened their Krispy Kreme donuts.
Yeah.
You would buy a double dozen for like £14. We went there, we buy one box of assorted, so it's half of that, for $5. At that time, $5 was about £3. And I was like, what? How is this? And like, everybody's buying us donuts every day. And you're thinking, why are they buying us donuts? Like in England, somebody buys donuts every day, you think, especially Krispy Kreme, like, it's expensive. But there it's like, it's a general item. And then you think about it, okay, why is that? And then you go on the street, all you see is McDonald's, Little Caesars, Pizza Hut, Wimpy, KFC, one block. Go to the next block, same thing. And then the third block, same thing. So you think to yourself, what's happening, right? Then if you do a little bit of research, the food companies also own the pharmaceutical companies. There is no NHS. Yeah, 8 o'clock Thursday, yeah? But there is no NHS. You have to pay. You go and see your doctor, it's going to cost you 80 quid. Yeah, $80. You have to buy insurance.
But in the UK, I could just write my own paracetamol prescription.
Right? Listen to me. So then, it's so expensive. One way of thinking is that pharmaceutical companies are owned by the food companies. You keep your food cheap. And the pharmaceuticals high. These people are going to give you your own revenue. So, yeah, they'll give you your own revenue. So, you're making your own revenue. So that's why when Obamacare came out, which was basically like the NHS, all the big businesses kicked up a fuss. As soon as our friend, Mr. Orange Man, he came into power, first thing he did, got rid of Obamacare. Why? He's a businessman. He's got his interest in these sort of things. He got rid of it. Sorry, I don't like talking politics.
Today's topic was conspiracy theories, and you've hit it on the head.
It's a fact. No conspiracy. Fact.
I remember Louis Theroux. Remember Louis Theroux?
Yeah, Louis Theroux.
He went to America once, and he did a documentary on the dairy farms there and the steroids that they inject into the animals.
American food, I've been there a few times, yeah? It's like it's Gazion. Right? American food, some of the American food it's like it's fake, man. You go there and you go to supermarkets, everything's perfect. Everything's round, everything's like that, Snow White.
Everything's supersized, bro.
Yeah, supersized.
The normal Coke bottle's like that big, isn't it?
Yeah, the apple's this big, yeah? And they're like the Snow White apple. You know what I'm talking about, Snow White apple, yeah? Yeah? And they're all like that. They're all stuck up like that. You think this is like perfection, right? And like, here we have Haagen-Dazs. And we have normal Haagen-Dazs, normal size, I don't know, what is it, about half a litre?
Yeah.
You know the Haagen-Dazs?
Yeah, small ones.
You go there, 5 litre. You think a Haagen-Dazs is like a taster cup, what we have taster cup. Yeah? Their fizzy drinks, 1 litre.
That's Hagen Beyendas.
But their drinks, 1 litre. 1 litre. McDonald's, 1 litre. What are you going to do? Drink 1 litre of Coke?
Pour in your head.
Wash your coins at home.
Yeah, wash your coins out. Wash your toilets out.
There must be a reason why they're selling such large quantities.
Yeah, it's all corn syrup first, base, yeah? And it's all drive-through as well. You go in, you don't even need to go inside. You don't need to get out of your seat. They have big cars, you drive in, order, it comes to you. And it's cheap. It's cheaper than eating at home. Yeah? It is dirt cheap. So people get fat.
Soon you'll get like a Big Mac injection.
Yeah. You know what it is? Very few people are thin. I went there and they'll be saying, "You're so thin." They think, "I'm a food blogger, man. Mashallah, you know." But the fact is that it's just they're so. They even have drive-through pharmacies. You even have to get out to get your prescription, get your high blood pressure medicine, your cholesterol medicine. You don't even have to get out of the car. Yeah. So I mean, the health of the nation, man. It's
All jokes aside, that might actually happen, you know, because if the food companies own the pharmacies, then eventually you're going to start injecting the food straight into your veins.
You know, there's a guy in it. He's written a book called Sapiens. Have you heard of him? It's called Dr. Aaron Yuvrov. Noah Aaron Yuvrov. So basically, this guy, he's atheist, and he said he said this about 4 or 5 years ago. You can check it on YouTube as well. He's written a book called Amos Dios, and in there he basically mentions that he's like how humans are developing as societies, and he says the next stage now is to jump into the AI now. Like humans have done as much as they can within the human capacity. So he goes, the next leap for mankind is to go into AI, and AI is going to overtake gold and silver. Like the value, everything's valued with gold and silver nowadays, and petrol. He goes, the next thing that they're going to value everything with is data information. And he said, what's slowly going to happen is, he goes, at the moment, society has reached, like in the past, societies were shaped around religion. Religion, like kind of dictated how society should go. And he goes, that was replaced by nationalism. And he goes, now what's happening is the next stage is multi-corporations. So multinational corporations are gonna dictate to governments, and therefore they're going to be the ones that are going to be shaping society. And he said, you see, now a lot of these companies, what they're moving towards is data now. So they're shifting away from like physical assets, like properties and things like that. Data. And he goes, what they're going to design? What they're going to design is like your own doctor, an AI doctor, right? Which is basically an app, and you attach like something to your wrist or something, like a watch or something, and it just gives all your vital signs are in real time, are being uploaded into this, this whole, global data. And just like you have trends on social media, and they kind of like, tell you what people are watching and all that. This is going to tell you where sick people are. So let's say, for example, there's a restaurant, 6 people are there. It will tell you not to go to this restaurant because there's too many sick people, and most likely you're going to get ill. And he said, what else it will do? It'll actually tell you you're ill before you get ill. It'll tell you you're getting ill, and it'll send the medicine to your house. So it's going to feed all this information. And I was thinking, this shift, it's going to be very difficult for this shift to take place. Because for this to happen, the whole world has to be shocked by something. And as soon as this COVID-19 thing happened, I was thinking this is the perfect time now to introduce like laws to say that people's vital signs have to be monitored, or, there's going to have to be some, stringent sort of like laws put in place regarding.
That's what they're doing in China, Muftisab, with the WeChat. I think it's on WeChat where they've got the passport.
Yeah,
so you can have green, amber, red.
Okay.
And basically, if you're red, that means that you've got to kind of isolate. If you're amber, that means you've got to stay away as well. And only if you're green can you drive around. And it's on your phone.
Yeah.
And it's a social metric on your phone.
You sign out of your house.
Yep.
You sign out of work. They pick you up whenever you go on public transport. You sign in. So it's like a nanny state, because they know where you are. You're tracking everything.
You want to go China, bro?
Yeah, bro.
In fact, in China, they say per square meter, there's more cameras per square meter in China than there is anywhere else in the world. Even more than Israel.
But the thing with it is that it's data, innit? Data makes the whole corporation is just selling data. What was it? Cambridge did all the data.
Speaking of that, bro. Speaking of that, sorry, just to interrupt you. You know how much your email address is worth to a charity these days?
£10.29.
Go on, tell us.
Data, mate.
Tell us.
You said it?
Oh, the other thing he said? Oh, yeah, this is what he said, yeah? Now listen to this, yeah? Listen to the Dajjal thing fitting now. I'm telling you, listen to his documentaries. Like he's got a TED talk, very, very interesting. So he goes, historically, developing countries and developed countries, there's never been a big gap between them. Like it was always possible for a developing country to catch up to a developed country and even surpass them. Like China's shown that, right? Like there could be a country that was so behind, or even like Japan, it was destroyed, in the World War, And all of a
India?
sudden, yeah, even this country. He goes, but once this new AI comes out, it's like they call it like super AI. It's an AI that can actually think for itself. At the moment, the AI is such that you're in control. So we are in control of the information that we give it, and it just gives us back information. But this AI, this new AI that's going to come out, it's actually going to think, and we won't even know what it's thinking. It will just give us results, and it can even, right, this AI can even communicate with different AI, and we won't know what they're saying to each other.
Skynet.
So anyway, so he goes, when this is developed, and he goes, you know who the leading people are in the world that are developing this at the moment? Israel. He goes, Israel is the leading, in cyber security. Israel are leading. They can actually break into any these phones, iOS, Apple. They've got the only company in the world that can break into these, that can hack into it. So these guys, right? And by the way, they're the ones that invented the average speed on the roads, average speed checker. So he goes, once they've developed this. And the other thing was, and there's also this. Have you heard of this? This city is called the Neom City. Neom City. So it's a city that's been developed in the north of Saudi Arabia, and only privileged people will be allowed to live there, and it will not follow any law of the world. It'll have its own law, and it's going to have the top scientists, and they're going to have the top. You check it out. Go Google now. Type in Neom City. Right, it's lots of fundings going into it by different countries, and they're going to develop this religious-less city. It's a city that's not governed by religion, nothing. And he goes,
in Saudi Arabia.
No, check it out. Yeah, top of Saudi Arabia by Jordan. They've already set the plans for it. And it's a website. It's a beautiful website. They actually made for it, and it's like everything's ready to put it in place. So
don't burn your passport.
So no rare meat there. So basically, he goes, once everything is set in place and AI it starts running, he goes, what's going to happen? No developing country will ever be able to reach them. Developing countries will have to go through the developed countries to become a developed country. So it's as though there's going to be an entity that's going to have full control, and everyone has to go through that entity. At the moment, IMF, you can say maybe, is probably like the world sort of body that has some sort of control over how countries do things, because this is the next thing now. And he goes, who's going to be in charge of that? He goes, that's the scary thing, because someone might say, if I've got an app that's tied to my wrist, and this app is telling me my vital signs and telling me how to stay healthy and what foods to eat and what not to eat, and what's happening inside my body that I have no idea of, he goes, isn't that a good thing? He goes, it's not a good thing. The reason is because at the end of the day, the information is being controlled by someone. And just like what happened with the elections in America, Cambridge Analytica, it's the scam. So he goes, what can easily happen is that someone can simply just dictate an algorithm, set an algorithm in motion, and it can actually change how people do things. People will think everything's happening normally, but slowly, it's going to be trickling down. All the kind of like dictated information is trickling down into people, and they're slowly kind of conforming with what they want. And people are going to think it's
behavioural patterns, if you know what I mean.
Behavioural patterns, definitely. So this guy,
it sounds like Skynet. Remember from Terminator?
You know what I'm telling you? Listen to this guy. Listen to this guy. You listen to this guy, and you know what? Shadows 2.0.
It's gonna have your voice on there. Mufti Saab. It's gonna be, and from.
No, it's gonna have to be a Gora white old man.
And give it legitimacy. The one thing that really gets me on conspiracy videos, Mufti Saab, like the 5G ones. Whenever they're talking to a doctor that's talking about 5G conspiracy, he always has his doctor's coat on, even though he's not at work.
Yeah.
It's like,
evidence.
It's like Yahya coming on here with the chef hat on.
Yeah. I was doing a course. Remember, I was doing a course once on A Day with Shaitan. So I had to do a lot of research into how these kind of marketing companies, they sell things to try and fish in the audience, kind of trap them. So one of the techniques that
oh, sorry, I was just adding effect.
Is that Arrivals?
Yeah. How could you forget, brother?
So
I only watched the first 4,000 episodes. I never watched. That was worse
how
than
many episodes are there? How many are there? Is it about 60?
They're still making them.
They were talking about seventh dimension by the time I finished.
Are they still arriving? Arrivals.
मैं आ गया.
Okay.
They're waiting for the arrival of the Jal.
Yeah. So this. So what I forgot what I was saying now.
Sorry, Mustafa. I just had to get that one.
You've broken my. Yeah. So basically, in marketing, there's a technique that they use. In the shops, they use lots of techniques in it. One of the techniques that they use is that as soon as you go in, they put baking things there. They make you smell like baked food, right? And he goes, what that does basically is it tricks the mind into thinking you need to buy.
Yeah.
And he goes, these guys, 1950s, what happened was, in the 1950s, psychologists were losing their jobs because no one needed them. So what these in film industry done was said, you come with us. Tell us what colors we should use in our advertisements. Tell us what music.
You said one word that I can't stop. I have to stop you on. You said the word film.
Film. I didn't. I said film.
No, you didn't. You said film.
We'll let that one go.
The film industry.
You know what? I gotta stay loyal to my
I'm gonna cut that
bradri.
part. I'm going to sound like Saeed did the other day.
In Pakistan once, I was studying in Pakistan, and this student, and he was speaking to me, and he was like reading a book to me, and he read something, and he came like the word in Urdu is written, director. So then I got to him, I know what that means. He goes, what is it? क्या मतलब इसका? I said, भाई ये तो वो जो डायरेक्टर होता है फिल्म में, ये जो ये लोग को बताते हैं कि ऐसे होना चाहिए. He goes, आपको कैसे पता है? And I said, भाई ये तो इंग्लिश का लफ्ज़ है. He goes, नहीं इंग्लिश का लफ्ज़ नहीं है, उर्दू का लफ्ज़ है. So he was adamant, this is an Urdu word, English have taken it. Now how am I going to explain to this guy?
That's the best conspiracy, mate.
There's certain words that people just taken it, like nobody says like I can't remember like what the word for window is in kirki. No one says kirki, goes window or window. They've taken the word and think windows. Window is like an Urdu word now, or a Punjabi word. Sorry, I should say.
It's marketing as well. Think about when Gujaratis here when they brush your teeth, they don't say go and toothbrush your teeth. What do they say, Alta? Colgate. Colgate.
Yeah? He's a fake Gujarati.
They say Colgate, yeah.
He's been,
that's what they say to us.
He's been denounced.
Hoover your house. What does that mean? Hoover your house.
Hoover your house, yeah. It means
So how do you say it? Say it.
Clean your house.
So say it. How do you say it? How do you say it?
Say what?
Clean your teeth.
Daat saaf kar. I said Salah daat saaf kar. That's what they say.
What was I going to say? Altaf, can you speak Gujarati fluently?
मैंने तो गुजराती हमद नहीं आवे मैंने जिरीबी सब बोलने नहीं आवे. I can't even speak it and I don't know how to. I don't understand it.
That sounds like like romantic French poems.
He's ordering a Mauritian meal then.
we speak Urdu only, man. Gurdu.
Yeah, so so they got one tactic in the shops. They use that. The other tactic the shops use is something called price dropping. Yeah, so what they'll do is they'll say to you, like as soon as you go in the shop, they'll sell something to you really crazy cheap. Like you won't find it anywhere else cheaper than this, right? And the tactic is that your brain is tricked into thinking you can trust these people because the price is so low. But once you go in there and you buy that one item, you're most likely going to buy 2 or 3 more items, right? And then they've done their job. They've tricked you into that. And this is like marketing. This is conspiracy theories seem to kind of like flourish on this kind of idea, basically of you can easily sort of come out with a novel idea, make it sound really, really sort of like convincing, and then there's no way of testing it as well. No way of testing it. It's very deceptive. It's a deceptive way of kind of thinking as well. And I gave you guys the article. Did you read the article? Muhammad.
Yeah. Read
it. Naveed, what was your line about the article?
Because I said there's so many unnecessary big words. No wonder people follow conspiracy theories. That's exactly what I said.
I want to move on to my second question. Remember, I said at the beginning.
Yeah, go on.
Why is it that people that do ANC, why is it ACN? Is it ACN, Nav?
ACN.
Yeah.
why is it people who believe in AC that do ACN always believe in the conspiracy
Is there
theories
like a
as well?
correlation, yeah, between the two?
There's a correlation. There's a direct correlation between the two. I still don't understand it, Mufsar. Can you explain it to me?
Yeah, you know. Okay, I'll tell you something. You know, like in the Quran, if you want to find the closest thing to like conspiracy theories in the Quran, you can find it. Like for instance, like you know, Samiri, the guy called Samiri in the time Musa alayhi salam. So basically, what happened? Musa alayhi salam, he goes to the mountain. 40 days he stays there in isolation. And what happens? Samir actually means the guy who sits in the moonlight. Samar means like moonlight. So what they used to do was they used to have a guy who used to sit in the moonlight, and everyone sat around him, and he would tell stories. Like he was the entertainer basically.
Yeah.
Right. So he was like their Netflix basically. So he sits there, he tells people stories, and storytellers are usually liars. They're fabricators. They kind of come out with things to entertain the people. So he's gone and told the people, look, Musa, right? He's confused. He's gone to this mountain 40 days. What is he doing? So basically, what he does, he tells the people, collect all the jewelry you've got, yeah, and bring it to me, yeah. Sounds a bit dodgy, yeah, cult kind of thing. So he goes, yeah. They all bring their jewelry, and then they get the jewelry and melt it, and then they make this jewelry into the shape of a small calf, yeah, and then they get this calf, and then the calf seems to make a sound every time they used to put it somewhere. It makes a sound. So the people start saying, "Hada ilahuka wa ilahu Musa wa fanasi." This is Musa's God, and he's even forgotten this is God because it was making a sound. It was like, forget the sea opening for you, forget Firaun drowning in the sea, forget the staff turning into a snake. All these kind of facts.
This metallic object echoes.
That's it. It makes a whistling sound. This has to be God, right? For some reason, right? And so they all start, worshipping this. And then Musa alayhi salam comes back and he's, infuriating that I've saved you from all of that, and I've shown you signs of Allah, and you're still kind of doing this kind of. So Samiri is a clever guy, yeah. And so Musa grabs him and says to him, "Why did you do this for?" And he goes, "Well, basically, I saw, when Jibreel alayhi salam used to come to you, he goes, every time you used to walk, the ground used to turn green. So he goes, one day I grabbed some of the dust that he stepped over, and I threw it on this calf, and it did this thing, like it did this kind of like sort of like illusion, yeah, this magical thing that happened." And he goes, "Yeah." Then I thought, why not? So this is what tends to happen with these kind of people.
He was an opportunist.
Opportunist, and I tell you, the biggest sort of like these kind of conspiracy theorists, they will come out with things that you can't refute, and the reason you can't refute it is because either you don't know the full facts of everything to be able to refute him, right? Or his words will be so ambiguous, he can always escape what he's saying. And there's this guy here, basically one of my in-laws. So went down to the house.
What's up, brother? Before you say this, he might be watching.
I don't think he's watching this. He's probably watching something conspiracy. So it's like
He's watching the Arrivals backwards.
It's called The Departures.
So this guy, yeah. So we were sitting in his house, yeah. So he's not like my in-laws. He's like extended family from in-laws. So he's sitting in the house, and he goes to me like you can tell like he doesn't like Maulvis, right? He doesn't like Maulvi beard, and he doesn't like this kind of like the mentality. So he didn't know that I know a lot of these conspiracies. Like I've got a lot of free time, and I've watched all of these things. So what I'll do is, if I'm doing work, I'll put on, for example, these documentaries in the background, like Joe Rogan or something, and I listen to it in the background. I'll do my work, yeah. So Joe Rogan had talked about the flat Earth theory. So this guy was convinced the Earth's flat. So he said to me, all of a sudden, he said to me, "What do you think of the moon?" And I was thinking, "Oh, what do you mean? Think of the moon?" I go, Islamically, what is the moon? Does it have a light? And I said, no, it doesn't have a light. It's just lights, scientifically, lights reflecting from the sun, hitting the moon and coming to us. He goes, no, it's not. Zakir Naik says that the Noor, yeah, one of these famous Zakir Naik ones. May Allah, forgive Zakir Naik here, but sometimes the guy comes out with things that you cringe. The kind of stuff that he comes out with, like for a scholar, like when a scholar listens to some of the things that he says, is that very cringy, but the audience gets away with it because to convince the audience, you can say something that's sort of like
You just have to give the chapter and the verse in it. That's all right.
yeah, and
Chapter number 5.
Cashier number 5.
so basically,
That's what you need his voiceover for. Cashier number 5.
Right.
so he goes basically. He goes to me. No, Zakir Naik says that it does have a light, and he's right. The sun, the moon does have a light. New science has discovered that the moon is emitting its own light. It's very dull, but it's emitting it. And I go, okay, whether it has a light or not, the Quran doesn't have to tell us that. Like what the Quran tells us is for guidance. It's not going to tell us, like, it's not a science book. He goes, no, it is. It is a science book. He goes, why would God not tell us what the earth is? The earth is such an important thing. God has to mention in the Quran what the earth is. So then I realized this guy's a flat earther. Yeah.
Mufti Sahib, you should have quoted Zakir Naik. And he said, the Quran is not a book of science, it's a book of science. He said, what now? But Mufti Sahib, on that subject...
And then you should have said, thank you, brother, I hope that answers your question.
The brother's asked a very important question. It's a shame we're not going to answer it. Mufti Sahib, weren't they scholars in the past that actually believed, or they said that the earth is flat because of the way of the wording in the Quran, though?
Yeah, so see, this kind of thing is basically based upon sort of like conventional understandings of science. Like, for example, at the moment we think that the earth is moving around the sun, yeah? And we think that the sun may be stationary. Let's say, for example, for argument's sake, let's say we believe the sun is stationary. We might realize in 100, 200 years' time that no, the sun is actually in its own orbit around something else. Right, we might find that out. Who knows? So what used to happen in the past was whatever scholars sort of like thought they almost were convinced of scientifically, right? And if they found a verse that corroborated with this, they would simply tell the people, look, the Quran is saying this. So whenever you find in the Quran scholars saying things like, oh, the earth is flat because Allah said in the Quran we have spread the earth, because that's what they thought of the science at that time. It was against science to say the earth was. It was against the majority to say that the earth was round, right? And even like the guys who actually came out with the earth being or the what do you call it, the solar system being the geocentric, what do they call it?
Heliocentric.
Huh?
Heliocentric,
yeah. So before they used to think it was geocentric, wasn't it? So who was
geocentric meaning the earth in the middle
and everything around it,
and heliocentric meaning
heliocentric. That's it. And so the first Copernicus was the first guy, wasn't he? Yeah. So Copernicus actually has books. I researched this because I had a talk in Aston University, and I had to know my names properly, because the talk was about science and Islam. So I can't just come up with I can't get a mimbar. On a mimbar you can say anything, and the audience will nod their heads because you got a big beard, you got something on your head, and it's Jummah. So everything you say has to be true. Yeah. So I looked this up and actually found that Copernicus actually has writings from several Spanish Muslim scholars who had done experiments, and they found that the earth was round. So all he's doing, relaying their information. That's all he's doing. Yeah, he's just relaying information. So I told, I explained this to the guy. The guy goes, no, the earth is flat. He goes, and I said to him, look, the Quran doesn't say it's flat. He goes, no, it does. It said it's spread. And I go, look, I was going to say to him, look, who knows the Quran better, me or you? It sounded a bit arrogant. But, sometimes you have to say that, and like someone's dying. Have you seen that kind of situation where someone's dying on a plane? And the guy goes, who's a doctor? You have to say you're a doctor, innit? If you don't say you're a doctor, that's the time where you have to show people that you're the expert.
Yeah.
So this guy goes to me, no, the earth's flat. I go, how? I go, okay, tell me, satellites, how do satellites work? He goes, they're all false, they're all fake, there's no such thing as satellites.
What about the sky dish you got in your house?
No, he goes, it's fake. He goes,
what about
earth,
DTV?
He goes, the earth has a dome, and when a signal goes from the phone, it hits the dome. It's like, what's that film called? That Dictator. Is it Dictator? Is it called Dictator? That funny guy.
Don't
Don't talk about Dictator. Go on.
Basically, you must have seen that clip, man, going around. He goes, it has to be pointy because pointy ones So he goes to me. He goes, what happens is that the signal from the phone goes up into the sky. It hits this dome, and it comes back onto the earth. And I was saying, I can't argue with this guy now. Then I go to him, okay, then I said, okay, how do you explain the idea of planes traveling? You know, they have to travel like why can't we see, if the Earth's so flat, why can't we just see planes all the time, right? You know, at eye level. Why do they disappear for? He goes, oh, you can, but you know, he's trying to use that kind of argument that the further you go, it's just that your eyesight is weak. If you had strong eyesight, you could have seen them. You know, those kind of ones. Then I realized that this guy basically has read and listened to all of the talks of Eric Dubai. So Eric Dubai is an American who lives in Thailand.
And it's named after Dubai, conveniently, obviously.
No, his name not Dubai as in Dubai. Dubai is like, it sounds like that. So this guy, he has written 400, the book called 400 Arguments for the Earth is Being Flat. Yeah, he's like the leader of the flat earthers. Yeah, and this guy is the one. And you listen to him on YouTube, he sounds so calm and he sounds so like, you know, like he's convinced of the arguments, and you know, you can't refute this guy. And this guy is the one that comes out with all this rubbish, kind of like, you know, the lead, like, you know, the kind of spirit level on the plane. Oh, it's not changing. Yeah, the earth has to be flat. Like a guy puts a spirit level on a plane. The plane goes up and he records it and says, look, the spirit level is not moving. If the spirit level, if the earth was round, how come it doesn't move?
We physically see the plane flying at that angle, but it's not enough for the guys to find it.
Yeah, so, you know, stuff like that. And so the point is that arguing with these people is futile. Like, you can't argue with them. The excuse is like they'll justify every single thing that's being said just to kind of make their point. And you know, like the 5G argument today is like somehow someone has made a link between 5G and between COVID. Yeah, and alhamdulillah, like some Muslim didn't come out with a new invention. Yeah, in the past few months. Because if they had come out with a new invention, that new invention would have been the reason for COVID-19. I guarantee you. Yeah, it's just like, you know, linking, you know, two dots together.
Where do you, Mufti Saab, draw the line? I'm not going to mention the brother's name yet, but there's a particular scholar. What's it called? Islamic eschatology or what's the word, bro? Is it eschatology?
Yeah, like hereafter. Eschatology simply means the hereafter. Science of the hereafter.
Yeah. What's something to say the hereafter?
I don't know.
Because who's gonna listen to a talk if you're gonna say hereafter? You gotta use fancy words, innit?
Where do you draw the line of people that give their theories about what this means and what that means, and conspiracy theories?
Yeah, that's a tricky one, isn't it? You know, like Islamically, historically there's been this kind of like offshoot group, and they've called themselves the Batiniya. The Batiniya have been like
Batiliya.
Batin means like inside, right?
Okay.
Inner.
You said Batil. I was like, yeah. Correct name. Okay, sorry.
So you know, you've heard of the Hashashin, assassins.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the assassins, one of the like predominant beliefs is that the word assassin came from hashash, like hashish. So what these killers used to do, they used to kill their victims by feeding them like this sort of like weed kind of thing, marijuana, right, drug, and they would drug them. And they basically what they had done was there was a guy called Hassan Sabbah. And this was just around the time of Imam Ghazali. So these Batiniya, you couldn't argue with them because they said, you guys only take the like surface Quran. We take the inner Quran. So they had invented for themselves inner meanings of Islam. Like deep meanings. They said, we don't have to pray Salat. Salat means connecting yourself with God. And as long as you connect yourself with God, that's it. Fasting doesn't mean abstaining from food. Fasting means to abstain from, like, I don't know, some spiritual thing. So they had invented their own like secret order, and you could only get into them if you went through this kind of like a ritual procedure to become one of them. So these were, I think that's where historically this is where this kind of movement stems from. And this guy, unfortunately, who you're talking about, if it's the right guy I'm thinking of, yeah. He's taken the same sort of like methodology, which is, you know, like, you know, notes are haram. Yeah, you have to carry gold, and so then you're thinking, how do you fly around everywhere? Like, what do you use? You know, it's the kind of like, you know, circular argument, isn't it?
He flies with a level that never goes like this. What?
Yeah, but this that's the problem with it. You can't argue with these people.
But you know? I guess there's an appetite for it, and that's why I think people create more content as well, because people are always like, it's the unseen stuff in it, like stuff that you can be interpreted in more than one way. People love to interpret it and give their opinion. They'll say it's an opinion, but then they'll also try to use certain bits and bobs to try and prove their theory, and then make it out like, no, that we haven't done that. All we did was share an opinion. But really, you're actually sharing what you believe to be haqq in it. And you want people to believe it at the end of the day. You're not just sharing your opinion.
You're right. Definitely. That's what happens with these things. And eventually there's no sort of like fruit of it. What's the fruit of, these kind of like conspiracies? There's no fruit. It just kind of creates despair in Muslims. The other thing is, for example, like, I mean, I started practicing, you can say, if you listen to Shadow's cassette, you probably started becoming more interested in Islam and politics and how, what's happening around the world, right? But, besides that, these kind of conspiracies don't really kind of give any sort of benefit to the Muslims at all. In fact, what they do is they probably harm, like, academic endeavors scholars have. It harms them more because people will not want to listen to any other scholar now because he's not talking about the, like, if I do a talk on Imam Mahdi, I guarantee you the masjid is going to be packed out. Even if, I'm not that amazing talker, speaker, but I guarantee you people are going to be there. Dajjal,
Just because of the subject.
Mahdi, yeah, Dajjal, Mahdi, Isa alayhi salam coming back, end of time wars, yeah.
But if you do fiqh of inheritance, you'll have 3 people there.
Yeah, and that one is me. One's the muezzin.
The other one's probably another mufti, just making sure that you're not messing up.
He's there to refute you.
Yeah, man. These, unfortunately, these kind of.
What in this day and age? What's the most common conspiracy theory that you've come across, other than the 5G, of course? Like that's like the most recent one. Prior to that, what do you think was the main one?
I don't know. I mean,
Freemasons rule the world.
huh? Reptile one. Have you heard of David Icke's?
Freemasons rule the world. That's the most like.
Oh, the what's it was? There's the Rothschild ones.
I'm not sure about the Rothschild one. It's just the Freemason one where everybody's like, "Oh, Freemasons doing everything."
Illuminati. Freemason, Illuminati. Are they supposed to be the same group or is it an parallel group?
I think one of them wanted to go their own way, like a boy band, and then he just like created.
One of them played tennis, the other one plays badminton.
I think it was like Westlife, and then they went to Backstreet Boys, isn't it? I don't know.
Do you believe there's an element of truth in all of that, though?
What do you mean, like?
Do you believe that there is like elite ruling parties out there?
They must have some sick WhatsApp group, bro.
I mean, I think anyone with any sort of like ounce of aql, right, would know that there seems to be this corroborating sort of like movement, whether it's going against Islam or whether it's going against the sort of like fabric of morality. There's clearly a movement around the world. Like, for example, if you think of certain new movements that have just popped up recently, right? I'm not going to mention any names because last time I just mentioned some names. you two mentioned to me that the podcast was going to be cancelled.
Allah's already doing that.
So basically, I mean, if you think
he's ready to, Yahya's ready to cook you. He's ready to zabah you. He's ready to cook you.
No. When Mufti Sahib goes like that, you just go like this.
Your name still comes up.
Anytime you talk about this, I just go outside and start clapping to show how loyal I am.
8 o'clock.
So yeah, I mean, I personally think there is some sort of like this ganging up. Like the Prophet ﷺ, he did mention near the end of time, he goes, the world will come together and they will break up the Muslims like bread is broken up. Now, and we believe that is something that will happen. There was an open sort of like threat against Islam in the medieval days, right? With European Christianity.
Oh, that's bad. Come on.
There can only be one. There can only be one.
How many muftis, man? Listen, if there was these guys that believed in flat Earth, then what have an issue with 18 degrees and 15 degrees and that sort of stuff? Because nothing goes below the horizon.
He's well, bro.
Oh yeah. Allah.
I think it shuts at what?
I've prayed half my Taraweeh. I've done half.
212.
I've got half left.
220.
Is it 212 for us?
No, 206.
That much of a jump?
He jumps 500.
Okay.
Nice.
Which one are you using?
You're getting towards thing in it. You're getting towards twilight time.
Yeah. So I mean, if brother Yahya, if you wanna go, you can go. It's fine. We don't wanna hold
It's
you, bro.
been amazing talking to you.
And next time we can have you. Next time, another time, inshallah.
I've enjoyed it.
Jazakallah khair.
I'm inviting myself over to yours to eat sometime.
No problem, no problem. After social distancing, inshallah.
Yeah.
After lockdown.
And
I'll eat through your letterbox if you
and
need
not-
me to. I don't mind.
not in midday Ramadan, yeah.
No.
I'm going to be traveling, Mufti Saab.
Yeah, I have to say one thing to you.
Go on.
Because you're on this page. DMY, but my brother, DMY.
Go on my head. He's right, he's bad. Go on my head. But
Conspiracy. DMY doesn't mean dua miyad. It means something else. Some conspiracy, man.
Take it, bro. Assalamu alaikum.
Nice meeting you.
Alaikum
I'll
assalam.
see you soon, inshallah. All the best. And I'm gonna get going. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Jazakallah khair. Alhamdulillah. Okay, so go on, guys. What do you guys think about conspiracy theories?
For me, Musab, I believe in good conspiracy theories. I just can't believe in the really bad ones. Like, you know, we're like Jeff was it the guy that got that was involved with Prince Andrew and all of that kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
Jeffrey,
the one that was killed.
Was it Epstein?
The one that was randomly just killed.
Yeah, the one that
suicide.
randomly hung himself, and then the camera didn't work at the same time, and nobody saw it. Like that one is like you can see that there's something that doesn't quite sit right there in it, and it seems a bit odd. So that one you can believe in, but then like random ones that just don't make any sense.
Yeah.
And that people are trying to convince you about. You look at them and you think, I'm not buying it. But then like when you don't buy it, they're just you're just a sheep. You just listen to everything the government says. I'm like, it's not bad.
So do you just take it with a pinch of salt, or?
Jim, what's up?
So you just take it with a pinch of salt?
Yeah, I just ignore it, to be honest. Because you just think how logistically difficult it is to manage something like this. So like this, the world controllers, like we can't even decide on what we're doing.
Although there's a difference between spotting a fabricated story and believing in conspiracies, and I think you quite easily spot a fabricated story, but that doesn't make you a mystic meg, basically.
Whoa.
Yeah, and like there might be a good conspiracy there, and you're like, okay, actually, you know what, that doesn't make sense. Something around that just doesn't make sense. Lots of things. There's lots of unanswered questions, and the pattern shows there's too much things happening there. But then there's certain things that happen, and you're like, you couldn't have planned that if they tried. Like as a country, they say, oh yeah, the government's gonna try to do this to you and that to you. They can't even make a message up. They can't give a press conference. Do you know what I mean?
The guy changed his opinion 3 times.
Yeah, but no, but yeah, but. Do you know what I mean? It's like, can we go out? Yeah, but no, but yeah, but no, but yeah, but no, but.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I seen a meme. Yeah, they said that basically what Boris Johnson did was do the equivalent of a Pakistani inshallah, where it doesn't mean this or that. It just like inshallah.
Yeah, I mean, see the problem with these kind of like these. I mean, like Islamophobia. There is an industry.
Guys, before you carry on, guys, that wasn't a joke about the religion or anything. Please, South Africans or whatever you might be, please.
Do public apology, man. Do public tawbah, bhai.
Oh, there's one public tawbah that we should do. That we weren't taking the mickey out of Zakir Naik. We were just taking.
Yeah, you know what? The guy, the top. That guy has impacted so many. The other day I was listening to one of his interviews with Dr. What's his name? Yasir Qadhi. The guy has impacted so many people around the world. Like you'll be shocked, whether it's like directly or indirectly. He's kind of like given confidence to a new generation of Muslims to be able to stand up to against whatever.
The amount of work he gets done, Mufti Saab, whatever you want to say, is just phenomenal amount of work. And it takes a dedication of a lifetime to get to that kind of level.
Definitely, man. Definitely. You got to give it to the guy, man. Alhamdulillah.
Have you got any questions or comments? I've not read it.
Yeah, you got loads. Anything
on Rahman's watching.
Anything on Facebook?
Atikur Rahman's watching.
Okay, so London saying Neom is derived from the Greek word neos, meaning new, and mustaqbal, the Arabic word for future. Ajib.
That's from Wikipedia Mufsab. I just read it as well.
Okay, when you go into a store, most people also turn right. Statistic. Interesting. Bedouins are being evicted from North Saudi Arabia to pave way for the Neom city development. Have you watched Shane Dawson Conspiracy Theories? Shane Dawson, yeah, I think I watched his. Hey, I mean, have you seen that guy? What's that guy in America? The one that, Infowars. What's his name? Alex something. Alex, have you heard of him?
Yeah.
He's a crazy, innit? He comes out with some rubbish stuff, man.
Them guys are nutters. Some of them guys are nutters, like Infowars and.
I mean, like, how do you counter this? Like, if the new generation feeds off this, if their Islam is sort of like not nourished, but it's kind of like fed by conspiracies, it's not a healthy way of being a Muslim, because it seems very sort of like unstable. A person might even just leave the fold of Islam because of these kind of conspiracies. So
I think especially if there's culture involved with what people believe to be religion, and it's a whole part of culture, and there's a lot of stuff that doesn't actually make sense, then there's definitely the problem. Like, be honest, if somebody's first engagement with Islam was like, I don't know, one of these videos, and they were looking for answers on, I don't know, magic and seher and stuff like that, if they start listening to the wrong people and there's a white magic, there's a guy who controls these jinns and he gets rid of them and he's got a cave and he's sitting in Damascus somewhere, and this, bro, that's the first interaction I had with Islam. I'll be like, no thanks. You're right there, mate.
I think it's called, they call it in psychology, I think it's called the locus of control. So like, you either have an internal locus of control or an external one, which means that you either think you're in control of things or you think that the environment's in control of you. Okay. And I think when you believe that the environment's in control of you in conspiracy theory formats, it makes you quite disheartened.
Yeah.
You don't feel like you can do anything or make a difference.
Yeah.
Your religion starts off on the wrong foot. Whereas, like, when you look at the greats within Islamic history, they achieved things within their lifetime, and their lifespans and lifetimes were similar to ours.
Yeah.
Do you think drugs play a part in it? Because I can imagine a lot of these guys that are probably coming out with all these conspiracy theories, they're probably getting high.
I think it is
high on the conspiracy theory.
It's not just that. I think it's a number of different things in that.
5G, man. 5G, bro.
You snorted 5G. Oh, sorry.
Look, if you think 5G is that bad, just put popcorn in your pocket, walk past a couple of masts.
Oh, yeah. Start popping. Yeah.
No, but there is, like 5G must have, like, look at that. 5G, there are no longitudinal studies which show whether it is good or bad for you. So it may be bad for you in the long run. We just won't know, because that longitudinal study over a period of time hasn't taken place. So people who are saying it's bad for you are like, and then relating it to other stuff, it's like, that's not the point. If you're not just focused on the fact that we don't know whether it's good or bad for us, and we shouldn't be putting it in our environment until we know the answer to this, that's a good answer. And that's something that I would say, I totally agree with that you shouldn't be putting something that you don't know what the effects of it are going to be.
Yeah.
But where they start linking it to other stuff and all of this, like, the bark of a tree going and birds dropping out of a sky and all of that kind of stuff, it's like, there's not even a 5G mast in that area.
What about, like, I don't know if it's the same as the conspiracy theories, but wallahi, I've actually come across Muslim people, yeah.
Muslim people? You mean Muslims?
Okay, Muslims, yeah, that's probably the correct word. Sorry.
When you say Muslim people, it just sounds a bit like strange, like there's a different type of creation, the Muslim people.
Yeah, well, these guys are quite strange. They got, the brother's got a jinn or something, so he needs a crocodile head and the egg of a dragon. You need egg of a dragon, and you need the fin of a mermaid.
Sounds like a Ben and Holly. My kids watch Ben and Holly. It sounds like one of those remedies you need.
And people actually believe
from a spider's web.
And no, because you can't get these things. Send me £10,000 and I'll get them for you. And I'll sort your problems out.
I'll tell you, in Pakistan, I'll tell you what happened here. This is a story. So one day, I go to my relative's house to visit. So it was like holiday. So I go there, and my uncle calls me and goes, "Quick, come." I go, "What's wrong?" He goes, "Just come." So I went inside, a bit strange. So the house they live in is like 2 or 3 floors. And it's like, Pakistan, India, Bangladesh kind of homes, open. It's very kind of airy at the house. Oh my God. All right. So let's see what he's going to do. So anyway, he tells us to get a pot, 3 eggs, yeah, get a lid, a cloth, like these specific kind of like things, like
an omelette.
Yeah, like you're gonna go to kill like the in like some evil sort of like what's it, monster, alien or something, and you need like specific weapons to kill him.
So I think it was just making you do his shopping.
You know what? I think so.
If you can get flour in this day and age, at this moment in time,
you are a magician, brother.
You are a magician.
So anyway,
wait. Toilet roll.
So what this guy does, listen, what this guy does, he first of all goes into his one room, he opens the Quran, and he puts his hat on his head, because obviously without the hat, you can't kill the jinns in it.
Someone might be urinating on his forehead, obviously.
So then he tells us to get 3 glass bottles, and he tells us to put 21 like these small little rose petals. There was a small rose petals in Pakistan. Like you had to put 21 in each one, and you had to put rose water in there each one. Yeah. Then what basically happened was he started reading these verses from the Quran.
How was his tajweed?
You know what? I'm telling you.
His tajweed.
Even if Trump, if Trump was to try and pronounce some Chinese city, he would pronounce it much better. So
Al-Aqwa Mosque.
Remember, he tried to say that Indian cricketer's name. Remember?
Sachin.
Yeah.
Sachin Tendulkar.
So guess what happens? So he starts reading Sunny.
And say that again because you paused.
I don't know, why is he pausing for?
Yeah, go on, you were saying, sorry.
Yeah, so that's what was happening. Yeah, so this guy's reading the ayats and he's reading them messed up.
Yeah.
And he's kind of like I thought, you know what, let him do his thing. Maybe this is part of the thing, innit? Maybe this is how it works. You know what?
Leave him to it.
I'm jahil in these things, innit? He knows. He grabs one of the bottles then. Oh yeah, the other thing was he puts lots of agarbatti. Yeah,
okay, incense sticks.
Yeah, incense sticks. He puts loads of them in the room, like really smoky. And I was thinking, this it feels a bit like one of those rides in Alton Towers. Like when you go into them, all that smoke and all that kind of sound.
The guy comes and touches your face.
Then he grabs one of the bottles, and he just like smashes it at the wall. Glass shatters everywhere.
Who's going to clean this?
I'm thinking, health and safety. This guy's not thinking about health and safety here. He picks up the second one, smashes at the wall, and I'm thinking, oh my God, this guy is really like, And then smashes the third one. Then basically, he says, okay,
cold walked out.
Yeah, one part's done. He goes to the next room, and then he goes, okay. He goes, what you have to do is get another glass bottle, and he goes, this water is special water that I've read the Quran on. He goes, spill it on the ground, and then you have to rub it with a cloth, clockwise or anti-clockwise. I can't remember exactly. So I've got the bottle. My uncle's got this cloth.
I don't know whether to smash it on his head or.
I spilled the water. He's wiping it. The guy goes, give me the pot. Yeah, give me the pot.
Okay.
All of a sudden, as we're doing this, he's shaking the pot like every time we wipe it once, he does this, like that. And there's three eggs in there, and all of a sudden the eggs crack, which is logical. It's going to happen, obviously. Then we hear a thud in the box, in this kind of like this metal sort of a container. We hear a thud, like it doesn't sound like eggs. There's something else in there with it as well. And this is where drum roll. He goes, I've caught it. And we were thinking, what has he caught? And everyone in the house was thinking, that's it. We told you there's something in our house. We told you. So he opens the lid. We all sit around it, and he pulls out this, in the egg yolk, like broken eggs, there's this kind of like pouch thing, and it's all filled with egg, and then he, like a cloth, and he opens it, and all these little things are in there, like a bones are in there, and there's a branch in there, and there's like this kind of like random sort of like, dirty kind of pieces in there. Yeah, and his writing in there as well, some scribbly writing and
Noughts and crosses kind of thing.
yeah, that kind of, and so he goes, this is it. And I was thinking, okay, so what's happened there? So I said to him, क्या किया आपने? And he goes, ये बहुत अच्छा सवाल है, ये दोबारा मुझसे पूछो. I was thinking, this isn't, DVLA learning you driving.
That's that pantomime
theory.
Oh no, he didn't.
Oh yes, you did.
So basically, what this guy seemed, so I kind of figured out what this guy basically has done is, whilst I was pouring the water and my uncle was wiping, he's pulled something out, thrown it into the tub, and then at the right moment, shook it enough, and it's kind of sounded as though it just materialized inside the. So he goes aside and he goes, this is for this, and this is trying to do this to you, and this is why you can't get a job, and this is why you can't have this, and so I go, oh my god. And then anyway, relatives, they gave him money, right? They gave him money, paid him. So then in the end, what he does is he told them, take these like spiritual nails, and you have to hammer them in the door frames of the house. You have to hammer them in there. So I was thinking to myself, look, I've watched enough Paul Daniels here to know that there's some trickery going on here. There's some fishy business here. So what this guy basically has done is he's tricked the senses, the smell, sight, sound. This is what they do, isn't it? Like, these kind of like cult.
Yeah.
That David, what was his name? that Waco, that guy. You remember David? What was his name?
Blaine.
No, David. What's it, man? You remember the 90s, that Waco incident where the whole cult, they killed themselves.
Oh yeah. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, David. I forget his name, man. Maybe the subscribers would know.
Beckham.
Yeah. So so this is what he's done. Now, the crazy thing is, this was supposed to have been done secretly, but it apparently wasn't secret because lots of other people in the area found out what he's done, and they've secretly called him to come to their house to repeat the same trick. Yeah. So it's like, this kind of, they wanted to believe that. At the end, I just thought, I explained to them, this is a lie. This guy's a con. You cannot prove what he's done is true, and you cannot disprove it. Right? But he goes, if I was to repeat this, if I knew how to do it. And in the end, I said to him, okay, leave those things with us that you found. Leave it with us. We'll dispose of it. He goes, no, I can't. They're very powerful. And if I leave it with you, they're going to affect you. So I know how to dispose of these, and I'll dispose of them. And I know what he's going to do. He's going to probably take them.
Use them the next family.
So I think, a lot of these...
all the rage.
That's it, man, So I think it's like a, what's it, Kinder Surprise. The new small little toys, collect them. But I personally think a lot of people are very prone to conspiracy theories. They're just naturally, they're inclined towards it. They'll rather believe in a conspiracy theory than you telling them like proper Islamic facts. If you said in the Quran says this, Hadith says this, Sahaba done this, they'll say no.
Places in Pakistan where people still attach pieces of string and stuff like that to trees, thinking that they might have children and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, that's something that people do.
Would you say that's a conspiracy, or that's just some like that's something else?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not really a psychologist. Huh?
People want hope. And
Hope.
so if you're going to give them an easy way to get hope, they're going to reach for it, even if it's not true. So they're always looking for that. Like, sometimes you watch YouTube and you get like that mysterious guy. But there's one guy who comes up on my YouTube all the time. I don't know what I've searched in my life. He goes, when is 1 minute not 1 minute? I go, it's always 1 minute. And he starts off like that and he carries on for about 20 minutes. People are looking for hope in it, so they're just stretching to anything. Or,
Yeah.
Are there any
have you ever got to your letterbox? Sorry, Nav, I've got to say this.
Yeah,
have you ever got to your letterbox? The mystery healer one.
Oh yeah. The Nigerian professor. Yeah, Sheikh.
He's something or another, man. There's always one. You'll get it through your letterbox, you read it, and he does everything.
Yeah, he like makes marriages, breaks marriages, does all sorts.
He does absolutely everything.
Yeah. I think it's this vulnerable people. You're right. I think it's people who are desperate, people who are in situations that they want to believe, like they want to believe in something that their mind can't fathom. That's what they want. They'd rather, take the leap of faith, you can say, than, hear the true facts.
Do you think this is why so many people are like obsessed with films about like not God and religion, but mysticism and mythology and things like that?
Maybe. You know, in the time of the Prophet ﷺ, the eclipse occurred once, right? We know that. Once it occurred. And coincidentally, on that morning, it was a morning, the Prophet ﷺ's son, Ibrahim, passed away. So many people in Medina spread the rumor that, such an amazing event had taken place. Like the Prophet ﷺ's son passed away. That the sun eclipsed because of this. The sun eclipsed. Right? So Prophet ﷺ got up and told everyone, no, the sun doesn't eclipse for anyone. These are signs of Allah for you to remember Him. And he said, you know, my son passing away, this is something that was coincidental. So it's just naturally, I think, in people, they like to kind of, you know, like this kind of, you know, what is it called? The unexplained, the X-Files kind of mindset. You know, some people are molders, some people are Scullys.
Some people have been on that Scully a bit too much and their brain's molded. You like that play of words, huh?
Yeah.
Sounds like a new poem, man. Yeah, but that's the theories that I've heard. I don't know. What kind of theories have you heard? I think we just wrap it up with that. Just tell us what theories have you guys.
I think I've said mine already. I think, but now, what about you?
Trying to think, man. Like, I hear loads of bakwas, man. As you can imagine.
You know, like theories don't have to be like you know, something which is eschatological. It can be something which is
obviously, you know, within the religion there's some weird funny conspiracy theories, like even folding the corner of the prayer mat, Mufti Saab. Like why do people shaitan aake namaz parsi? Like, okay. In that case, let's there another prayer mat so you know his minions can come as well.
Yeah.
This kind of stuff you've seen all your life. Like I remember like people saying, I can't remember, not my own family, but I think I had an auntie or something said, don't open an umbrella in the house. Snakes are gonna come. Don't crack a mirror. You know, it's crazy how people believe these kind of like past theories. And I don't know if it's so much of a conspiracy, but I just think anything that like the inquisitive side in it, if it tickles that fancy of people, yeah, they'll believe it. And they cling on to stuff that like doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
I think you've got some good questions on YouTube as well to answer.
What are they?
I think you got one from somebody who's asked a question around probably for another time. What would you recommend about where to look when looking into Islam around controversial topics?
You mean you want to find controversial topics or do you want to avoid them?
I think they want to avoid them or find answers to them.
Yeah, you know, like for example, I think. See, the biggest thing is studying the Quran is so important for our society. Like properly studying it, not just reading a translation, because reading a translation can, you know, give a person their own conclusions as well. So learning the Quran from someone, and you know, in this Ramadan, mashallah, you got so many people around the world doing these whole sort of like tafsir marathons. I think that's very important because you know, a lot of times for basic etiquette of Islam, which is like, you know, don't spread rumors. You know, nothing, something that you haven't verified. Don't follow it up. Don't like go and forward it to anyone. And then you get these kind of like, you know, Ramadan. Every Ramadan, what is it? Saudi, you know, why does Saudi do Eid on this day? Why did they start Ramadan on this day? It's a conspiracy, isn't it? People just like that, and then you're gonna get some Maulanas who are gonna be very adamant that no, there is some secret thing going on, and it's like, you know, these kind of like guys with cloths on their head sitting around a round table, you know, like in, you know, James Bond, those kind of villains, rubbing their knuckles together with a little cat in the side, stroking the cat, saying we're going to start our Ramadan on this day, right, because we deliberately want to go against you know, some people actually think that kind of way. They think there is this kind of thing that's going on, and it's not like a sort of like a juristic, you know, difference of opinion. No, it's something beyond that. Right, and there's like a sinister plan going on, plot that is being played. Similar with, you know, sometimes you get with organizations, charity organizations. And I'm not saying charity organizations are you know, 100% legit, whatever. But I'm saying sometimes, like for example, maybe someone in a charity organization might be, you know, caught for something, right, whatever by charity commission, and then all of a sudden you get these guys putting a post. We told you not to, you know, support this charity. We told you they're dodgy, just because one guy. We don't even know the facts exactly what happened, right? Mismanagement, whatever that means. And it's like, these kind of things happen. I'll tell you something. I had a friend here who used to work for a fire sort of like fire organization department. He said one day basically what happened was he goes, I came into work, and he goes, I was called to the office. And he goes, I went to the office, and the head, he said to me, I'm going to have to suspend you. I didn't even know why. He goes, basically what we've done is we found on your laptop, we found emails harassing some of our employees, and because of that harassment we have to. And I was totally shocked. He goes, what happened when they suspended me? He goes, before that, this is what happened before that, a few weeks before that. One of the head guys in our department, a laptop from his house was stolen, and it was retrieved by the police. And on there, child pornography was found. He goes, then what happened was, when I heard about this, I was quite shocked. So he goes, I began to investigate this. He goes, that was kind of my field, like investigating, fires and all that. So I was like into this I knew the kind of law regarding these kind of things. So he goes, what happened was I was investigating it, and I found that that is strange, because how is only a laptop stolen from his house, and then it was retrieved by the police, and then images were found on it. So he goes, when I was investigating this, I was telling my other colleagues, like I was contacting them, I was telling them, look, it's not matching up. The kind of stuff that they're saying is strange. So he goes, basically what happened was, I got a random phone call one night saying to me that, look, you don't know what you're getting yourself into, stop it. He goes, otherwise you're going to find yourself in problems. Because that's the phone call I got a few weeks before, and I ignored it. And he goes, then I get suspended. So basically what happened was, his case went to court, and in court the judge dismissed the case. He says it wasn't in public interest. So he says, what I done was I investigated what does it mean that a case is not in public interest, and I looked, there's like several points when a case is not in public interest, like it's not worth going into, it's a waste of money. So he goes, I looked into there, all the points that they normally mention, none of them applied to him. The case should have gone through, but someone in the top gave that decision. And he goes, when I raised this problem with others, it leaked out. And he goes, because there was a threat that that person might go further. He goes, I lost my job. He goes, because of that, I lost his job. And this is he goes, the British system. This is something that happens. Unfortunately, we think that the law is very robust, very strong law they have. Right, people can't escape. Even if you've done something 34 years before, you'll still get caught. But the problem is, depends who you are sometimes. Depends who your connections are. So there does seem to be behind the scenes, like there's elite group of people that have certain privileges when it comes to certain. Now, obviously, it sounds very, conspiracy sort of like.
No, but what are you saying, Mufti Sab?
But this guy, I trust this guy. This guy's a very truthful guy. He's not going to exaggerate. He doesn't exaggerate anything at all.
Yeah, this stuff has happened. Like, I don't want to go into too much. I'll use the word politics, but it's a very common thing, and there's a massive cover up for him. Apparently, it was the cultural norm at one point to do all of this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And society just turned a blind eye to it. Yeah. And now, because obviously the way that they look at things is changing, now that they're digging up this stuff, some people they've got that. I don't want to use diplomatic immunity, but it's similar to that, isn't it? Like, you're untouchable because you sit at a certain position. You're above the law.
Yeah. So we know with these kind of conspiracies, I think there's layers of conspiracies that people are interested in. Some people are interested in like the alien conspiracy. Some people are interested in, let's say, for example, a more localized conspiracy. Local community, the masjid committee, or whatever. Anyway, I think should wrap it up there.
As always, come to a natural end.
Jazakallah khair, man.
So
and we should be back on Thursday.
Guys. What do you guys think of bringing on a guest? Yeah, let us know, inshallah. Anything on Facebook?
Nothing at the moment, sir.
Yeah, so Jazakallah khair for being with us. Hit the like button if you like this podcast, and if you want to hear more of these topics. Thursday, what we're gonna what are we gonna do on Thursday?
I think we have to decide what to stop.
Are we gonna bring? When are you gonna bring? Talk about education. Should we do that Thursday?
We can do. I can speak to Zakaria as long as he's not teaching. I don't think he'll be teaching at that time anyway. He had a bad experience with Zoom though. You know, since we're here, I might as well say it. Apparently he was doing some class or something. I don't think he might be so keen on jumping on Zoom. But you know when you've got loads and loads of people on there,
Yeah.
someone hacked their call and started playing some abusive videos and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, it happened to a few people.
Allah.
Yeah.
It's
Just need to
basically
be
where you give your password and username out publicly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We
We don't do that,
our
alhamdulillah.
password is very very protected. Even
Haki
AI
Islam 786.
even AI can't hack into that.
I might have to change it this time. Inshallah, Jazakallah khair, man, Musab, and inshallah we shall see everybody on Thursday.
Jazakallah khair, guys. Take care, inshallah, and stay away from 5G, 4G, 3G.